So, after an extremely relaxing and deeply contemplative 2 months disconnected from electricity, I am now back in civilization. And I must say, it was truly great to have a shower again. That was awesome. But yeah, so the time that I spent away was very beneficial. I was able to connect very deeply with nature, and the setting I was at was absolutely beautiful in the middle of nowhere in the Irish hills. And yeah, it was really interesting actually. Not quite what I expected, which is always good, to be surprised a little bit. And I got on really well with the host and the people that came through the place. There was other helpers, but it was very interesting how healing it can be just to be in this environment, and how it can completely reset your aura, your mind, and your body. And I don't know if it's necessary to have such a long time in nature to be able to find these benefits. This is just what I've experienced, and partly what I experienced is what I've created and a bit of luck, but some say you create your own luck, and the result of choices that I've made to be able to get to this point where I can just simply not have to keep working a job so that I can do these things. But I must say it was not an easy road to get to this point. When I quit my job back in 2013, it was a very dark path for a while. So it wasn't like I just snapped my fingers and I was instantly able to manifest amazing things in my life. It took a lot of work and effort and dedication to get to this point. Just so the listeners are aware that it wasn't some magical switch that I flicked. It's been a tough journey. But now, after many years, I am now seeing the benefits of being in service to the divine and in service to others. And I truly believe that the more that you help yourself, the more that God helps you. I'm not religious, but I definitely believe and have faith and love for the Creator, the one source, whatever you want to call it. And I do believe that the more you align yourself with divinity, the more divinity can help you, and multiple reasons for that. One of them being that you are actually resonating with their reality or their vibration, and then so they in turn can then resonate more with you, and it creates this feedback loop. And reality really starts to get quite interesting when you start to hone in on this, because it's like tapping into reality creation abilities that we didn't even we were never taught how to use, and we weren't even supposed to know they exist if we follow the matrix set of guidelines for life. But that's almost a part of it, is how if you are strongly aligned with the matrix and you are deeply ingrained into its value system, and how the matrix says this world should be, if you go really far into that, then the Matrix will reward you and support you and keep you in your position where you obviously are helping their structure to maintain itself. But also, of course, keeping yourself alive. But it's a service to self path at the expense of others. But then, say if you're in the middle of all of this, if you're not strongly aligned to the divine or strongly aligned to the matrix, then you're sort of in this grey area where there's not much support available from the divine, as maybe you don't even believe in the divine. So that was like shutting a big door in the face of any assistance. I wouldn't say completely, but I would say a huge part, and maybe like your higher self or your guardian angels, whatever entities you like to refer to that are protecting you. I personally prefer my higher self, as I know that's part of me. But yeah, they would only, I imagine, be able to do the very bare minimum to keep you in this reality. But other than that, it's yeah, you kind of are on your own if you don't accept support from the higher spiritual network that can reach down and assist you. So it really, I mean, anyone listening to this, I would imagine, wants to have a good life and be good to other people. So you have to really go for it. You can't really be sitting on the fence like, oh, I'm not sure, I don't know if I want to do this, da da da. Uh, the time for sitting on the fence is long past, and we are now entering into some very intense times of polarization. So this means that you've got to get it together if you haven't already. And I'm sure there are many people listening who are already far into their own journey, because it's really amazing to think about what the upper 1% of positivity are doing. Because there's so much talk about the negative 1%, the lower 1%, and what they're doing on the world. But what about the higher positive 1%? And what kind of things are they creating for the world, and all these amazing things that they must be doing, because they exist and they are really, really powerful, and they're doing amazing things and bringing forth incredible change onto this planet. So it's good to be aware of that, because it can be easy to go too far either way. One, to not look at the darkness at all and just be completely in this new age bubble, or two, to go the other way and just be completely immersed in the conspiracy theories or the 3D aspects of the Matrix, or even the higher, darker aspects of the Matrix, without having that positive balance. So again, it comes back to the balance, to be aware of the darkness and know how it operates, so that you can then be better to defend yourself against it and overcome its challenges that they present to you. But then also to step into your divine power, and realize you are a spark of divinity, and claim the power that goes with that. So to be polarized but then be balanced at the same time. Now that's the key, and it's possible for anybody who wishes to do so. And given the current situation on Earth, it's hard to say exactly why certain people are born into certain ways, but I think it goes way beyond just karma. I think something on this planet has really gone terribly wrong, or it's been created in such a way that it is corrupted or distorted. It's like this fake reality that has been created that we take to be true, but in reality it's so far from the truth. And if you've ever heard of the author, unfortunately he's dead now, Philip K. Dick, he has a huge collection of books. You may have heard or seen some of his books that turned into films. But I've recently been diving into the madness or epicness that is his exegesis. And it's this like 900-page book where he goes through multiple theories regarding the universe, and what may have happened in our past, and what the state we're in now, like how we've fallen into this strange dream world. But also he had these incredible experiences where he had this huge download of information for hours upon hours, where he was seeing these incredibly vivid images and being shown all these incredible things. And ever since then, it's like something in his timeline completely altered, because after that he was getting all these dreams from like Rome times or ancient Greece, with all these different languages he didn't even understand, but he was having all this information sort of come to him up and down the time stream. And it's absolutely fascinating what he has to say about reality. So if you have the time, I would highly recommend delving into his work of the exegesis. I'm only about halfway through, and it's taken me nearly 2 months to get to that point. And it's a sort of book you sort of read a couple of pages and you sort of sit and you think about it, and you let it digest. And it does repeat himself a little bit as he's trying to work out his theories, but it is truly amazing material. So yeah, I would highly recommend delving into that, because having an understanding of how this reality works and how it doesn't have to be like this can really be quite empowering, because in it you are then in charge to of your own life, to be able to create what we could even call true reality, what really should be happening on this planet right now. It shouldn't be this black iron prison with so much undeserved suffering happening, people being crushed by the many arms of the Matrix. It really shouldn't be like this. And even now, it is still possible to create an amazing life for yourself amongst all of this. There are many people who are just being unnecessarily beaten down. They may make a couple of bad choices and they get overly punished for it, like not just a little bit but too much. So the lessons that need to be learned are not being learned because there's too much suffering. So it's stagnation, and there's not really much happening really in terms of strong evolution. Either way, actually, it's like this big grey area in the middle that a lot of people are caught in. So it comes down to what we can do about all of this. And I really like this saying: "This if you want to change the world, change the people, and if you want to change the people, change yourself." Because it's all well and good going out and maybe doing some activism or protesting and writing some good articles for other people to get empowering information, but it has to be matched with the sincere work on the self. So the inner and outer work. I think it's very important to get that balance, and that's when you start to get that, reality sort of provides you with the ability to be able to step into your journey even more. It's like the more higher your vibration is, the more you align yourself with the divine, the more reality just gets more interesting, and your luck seems to increase, and it's very, very interesting. So, yeah, I must say the time in nature has been hugely beneficial for me. And just to give anyone an update who's following my work, I have now got the opportunity to spend the next 2 months in another HelpX. But this time I'm going to be on my own with only the hosts, and I have my own self-contained apartment. So I'm going to get some real serious work done here. I'm just about to start making beats for my next album. If any of you haven't yet checked out my first album, I'll put a link in the description. I'm very happy with it. But this next one is going to be even, it's going to be a step up for sure. I mean, there was something significant about releasing that first album, because it's like said something to the universe, like, hey, I can do this, and this is what can do for the world and for humanity. So now I've noticed, even when I'm practicing my flows, it's like something has just taken up a little level, and I'm very interested to be able to bring that into music, to see how that can really positively influence events taking place. Because with my music as well as my writing, I almost exclusively write for like the spiritual elite, like the top percentage of spiritually alive on the planet right now, because I feel that's where like in terms of efficiency, that is where the greatest efficiency lies, is to help those people who are already helping themselves. And it's kind of like that's how it works in this reality. The higher positive forces will know that as well. But then, not to completely disregard anybody who may not be on this path just yet, because when you think about it, all these people in the world, they are still very powerful, even if they don't know it, and they have these reality creation abilities. So I was just thinking about creating maybe a couple of songs for the wider audience that could still maybe generate some positive change here, because the dark forces for sure, they are aware of how powerful each individual is. So they spend huge amounts of time and resources to control what these people think. And there's a big reason for that, because if you have a big chunk of the population all buying into your reality, then they self-perpetuate your chosen reality. So it makes sense to not completely give up on the masses at large, because we are still part of this one organism. Yes, we are all cells, if you like, of a greater being that is the human race. And I do have deep love for humans, but what can you do about people that have chosen slavery, or people that even become psychopaths and become a cog in the machine of this matrix? It's like your brother who's just gone down the dark path, and there's nothing you can do to get them out of that. So that's why I don't spend a lot of time in person now trying to talk to people about, for even just basic things like the 9/11 and banking corruption and all of that. I don't waste a lot of time trying to talk to people about that, because I've seen how little progress can be made. Whereas if you talk to the right person for an hour, huge progress can be made for both people. So in physicality, I'm stepping away from that a lot more, but that doesn't mean that indirectly through the music that huge changes still can be made. So yeah, that's just where I'm at the moment with my current projects. I'm very excited to see where they will go, because it's very grounding and satisfying to have found passions in life, ones that you can actually help people with and that you really enjoy doing. So that's to refine that, to develop that into something that can really be quite powerful. Um, yeah, so for anyone who didn't see my importance of disconnecting talk, maybe look into that as to why I think it can be really useful to get into nature for a while, especially with this huge disconnect we have at the moment with like we're separate from nature. We're not separate, we are nature, we're a part of nature. Because as well, I've just started getting into my qigong practice, and I was practicing this for a very long time, but then I stopped for a while for a couple of reasons, and now I've just got back into it. And I may do a video of me doing a qigong session, because eventually to be a qigong teacher would be really nice. But so there's many different paths that my journey could take. But I just give my experience so then people can maybe take something from it and develop their own journey if they haven't already begun on this incredible journey of evolution, aligning themselves with the divine. I can just say from my own experience that it's an amazing journey to be on, and I really wouldn't want to be on any other journey, on any other place, on any other planet right now. This feels like the perfect place to be able to train yourself if you want to be a warrior of the divine. This is a place to do it. And you think about it, it's a bit tough, it's a bit crazy, it's a bit sort of, no one knows what's really going to happen in the future, but it's so challenging, exciting, and invigorating to be a part of the human race right now. So let's see what the future holds. The next 10 years, they're going to be very, very interesting. But I, for one, will do everything I can to help humanity, and I know there are many other people who are doing exactly that all over the world. So let's band together, shall we? Let's stay strong in each other, support each other, and who knows? We could even topple this entire matrix, because the future is not set in stone. So we still have huge potential to make huge change. And who knows, what we could achieve when we put our minds to it. But that's enough of a recap for now. I'll do another talk a bit later, maybe in a couple of weeks, just to keep you guys updated. And get in touch if you have any questions or anything. If you want to talk about anything that I talk about, I'd love to talk about it. But thank you very much, and until next time, goodbye.